What steps into Minerva's den? Porter's newest toy? He wants the Thinker for himself. But you see, old friend, the machine has chosen me.
Reed Wahl is one of the most disturbed men that Subject Sigma will encounter during the events of BioShock 2's Minerva's Den DLC. The co-founder of Rapture Central Computing, alongside his associate Charles Milton Porter, Wahl would become increasingly obsessed with an invention he would create known as the Thinker. An incredible piece of technology that was capable of everything from running Rapture's automation to complex predictive equations. Predictions that Wahl would become ever more fascinated by as he would turn Porter over to Andrew Ryan and take the machine all for himself.
The brain boost gene tonics are working. Extra strength, yes. I see more now. One mind, doing the work of two. 10, with the help of the Thinker, 1,000. The machine spoke, Ryan listened, and finally, I have the Thinker all to myself. Goodbye, old friend. Don't worry. You leave your creation in capable hands.
The story of Reed Wahl, as we know it, begins with his life in Rapture, working alongside a man named Charles Milton Porter. The two had been hired by the city's founder, Andrew Ryan, to build the impossible, a computer that was capable of keeping the entire city running on time. Porter being the visionary to conceptualize the design, and Wahl being the practical mind to bring it to fruition. The two brilliant men collaborating to create the Rapture Operational Data Interpreter Network, nicknamed the Thinker, a technological marvel brought to life through complex circuitry and an integration of a revolutionary substance known as Atom, building out a vast infrastructure around this mainframe that spanned the entirety of the underwater city, automating everything from security to vending machines, all from its chamber in the depths of Rapture's central computing. Its co-creators being heralded as heroes of the city, but for Porter, the incredible computational power of the Thinker had caused a spark in his imagination. Back in 1940, during a German blitz on London, Charles' wife had been taken from him, a loss that he'd yet to come to terms with even a decade later. The mathematician harkening back to his time with Alan Turing and his fabled test of replicating a human, which he thought could now be possible with the Thinker's advanced systems. With a new goal in mind, he would begin working on something that he would dub the Independent Reasoning Processor, a new skill set for the computer which would allow it to think, reason, and even learn. All processes that he sought to utilize in a ploy to revive his dead wife in some form, but for Wahl, it was squandering the machine's potential.
Porter and I are partners, but he's wasting that machine. In off hours, I've been using it to predict the outcomes of baseball games, and it is incredibly accurate. Apply such equations to Rapture's markets. This thing is the money-making grail. But Porter, I have heard them feeding it recordings of his dead wife. The fool wants to turn the Thinker into a person. I could not imagine a sadder fate for such a perfect machine.
While Porter toiled away on his new pet project, Wahl watched his progress with a keen eye. The improvements to the Thinker were proving ever more impressive, and as Porter taught it how to independently reason, Wahl had begun to notice that it was able to calculate the outcomes to certain events with remarkable accuracy. The engineer taking these predictions and using them to make money, but as he interacted with the machine more and more, he would come to realize that the scope of his use for the Thinker's abilities was laughably infantile. The computer's ability to predict events, even with seemingly infinite variables, was nothing short of a miracle. A man-made machine with an almost godlike gift of foresight, if only it were provided the correct equation. And yet, Porter wanted to use it as nothing more than an imitation, the recreation of a human, taking this deity and shackling it to the flaws of man, a disgusting bastardization that he could not allow. With the desire to take this machine from the clutches of his partner, Wahl would come up with the idea to frame Porter with the use of his own procedure. At the time, Andrew Ryan was in the thick of a conflict with a man named Frank Fontaine, Wahl using this turmoil to his advantage, recording a confession in Porter's own tongue with the Thinker, and sending it to Ryan, who would immediately take action against the false admission.
Rapture is at war, Porter. And you have cast your lot with the enemy. Your concerned associates provided me with a recording of your own voice, swearing loyalty to Fontaine and his gangsters. Evidence of treason. My men are already on their way. The Thinker no longer needs you. Take pride in that. Mr. Wahl is qualified to ensure that it is used in the city's best interest.
Ryan's men would take Porter away from his home in Rapture Central Computing and lock him behind the prison bars of Persephone. The event leaving Wahl in complete control of the Thinker, which he would attempt to use to his full advantage. The predictive power of the machine was spectacular, but with the right equation, Wahl would convince himself that he could unlock the secrets to everything, that the future itself could be molded by simple small tweaks recommended by the computer's foresight. However, before he could harness this power, he would need to crack the equation to give the machine this almighty ability. A mission that would see him splicing with all manner of mental boosters in an attempt to create this crystalline code. Adam driving him to mania as he failed time and again to produce the necessary formula. An equation that the Thinker had known all along was impossible, as it worked toward the final objective that Porter had ever programmed for it. Reed Wahl is one of the most unhinged men that still roams the corridors of this destitute underwater city. A gifted engineer that would help to create one of the most advanced machines the world had ever known, Wahl would lose himself to madness when he would begin to worship his own creation, turning his back on everything that stood between himself and the potential of the Thinker. A decision that would spell his end when the machine that he'd put such faith in had ulterior motives.
Porter, you have forced my hand, you see? The Thinker is shut down. That leaves only two variables, you and me. The equation ends here.